Hi everyone. I hope you're all having a good day. So I wanted to finish up with the mushroom house. I'm sorry I couldn't put it all in one video, but I was really tired last night. Tonight it's a little bit earlier. It's only almost 11 o'clock, so it's not as late as last night. So let's finish off here with the mushroom. So we did some on the top here. We did a little bit on this one, and I put a little bit on this one. So we do have to finish this one. I put some paint on there, but I didn't finish it off. But I used one of my regular eyeliner brushes, the disposable ones I talked to you about. You could buy them on Amazon. It's like pack of 100, and they last a few times before I have to throw them out and get a new one. Anyhow, so we're going to do this one, and if you remember, our light is coming straight on, so that's what we want to keep in mind. It's going to hit it right here at this spot. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put some paints on the edge and put a little bit more on this side, and then I want my lighter color in the center. And then I'm going to blend it right here and right here. As you can see, I did put not a huge amount, but I did put a little bit of paint on the dark and the light, so then that way I can blend them while they're still wet. That's another technique I use. And then I want some more lights. If you can see my paint smeared on here, which is the open, and that's what I mean. It gets a little runny, especially if this is wet. So it really ran into some of the other colors, which is fine. I'll use it eventually. Lighten that up. Get some more of my darker. To blend it, I'm just trying to blend it here, so it's not such a huge difference in lining. You don't see lines of color. Should be a good blend. And I'm just kind of doing these steps a couple of times to get rid of those lines. And then if I still am having issues with it, what I also do is I'll get my brush wet a little bit and dab off that little bit excess water, and then I'll just take it on the edge where I want it blended, and I just kind of get it wet, and then it kind of helps with the blending part. You don't want to put too much because it'll end up taking, you know, some of your paint off. But it definitely helps blend those colors together. So I don't know if you can see it. So right here with the water, it helped it blend it from dark to light. You have a difference in there. And see, on this one, I didn't do that, and so you can kind of see the lines in there, which is good too. I mean, the same with this one, you can see some of the lines. It's still still looks good. It's just that this way it's more soft of a blend, I guess you can call it. So, I mean, if I wanted to, I can come in here and do that still to this one and to that one. And you could do it too if you don't like the way it looks. You just reapply some of the color, not all of it, just some of it. Get your brush wet, dab it off, and then you just go over the lighter color and then blend it into the darker color, and it'll give it some of that blend, soft blend look. This one is not, I've got more lines than I should. See if I use a bigger brush, if it'll help. Yeah, and see, sometimes the bigger brushes help because you don't get all those little lines coming through with the excess paint on it, which creates lines. If I can do this without messing it up too much. I'm gonna dab it, and come back over here, come back over here, get this blended. Sometimes you can dab it and then add a little bit of the paint. Like this one, I added darker paint, so my brush still has a little bit of water on it, so it'll blend it a little more smoother. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Get my brush a little bit wet because I feel like I have too much light, so I want to have a little bit of darkness on this side too. But I'm using the water to help give it a soft blend. So there we go. So if you look at this now, it's more of a soft blend. You can see the lines in this one. And so you got a soft blend on this side and a soft blend on this side, and you don't have the lines like this one. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so let's move on to the trunk. And I may fix this later, but I wanted to show you all how to fix it. And that way you know. So the underneath, this one you can either do like a light gray or you could do it a brown. You know, it kind of just depends on what the color you're looking for. This could easily be like a light gray and this could be a tan if you wanted to do that. Let's see what I'm gonna do. I'm definitely gonna do a brown on the bottom. I think I might change it to gray. Let's see what gray is gonna look like. It's okay to play around with it too. See what colors look best for you. See if I did gray. Gray with this background. I have a thing of paint right there. Goodness, it's so hard to tell. If I did this one, it would look more like this color, tan. The decisions. Let's do tan. I do like the tan better. So what I'll do is I'll mix some of my tan in with the browns. You know, you gotta get a good combination of middle colors. So I got my dark brown, which is like the raw umber, I believe. Let me get the colors for you. Sorry, I didn't have those. All right, so we have burnt sienna, you know, and that's like the regular brown. That's this brown right here. And then I have the raw umber, which is this brown right here. It's a pretty dark brown. And then I have the burnt umber, which is pretty close to the raw umber, but it's like more of a brownish color. A little bit more brown. And then the raw sienna is one of these. So it's this color right here that I will mix into my brown as well to give it a little bit of a light color, and I like it. It also helps like smooth it. So because we are doing tan, I don't want to go overly dark on the edges. So I don't want to use this color because it's too dark. And we want this to be more of a tan. So I'm going to start on the dark first. Why I always pick that. And then I'm going to use my, this one is going to be the skin tone or beige. This one I have in latex or Liquitex. It's the unbleached titanium. And I do have it in golden paints too. So this one we're going to put it in the middle. It's okay, we want it to blend. So while it's still wet, I'm over here. And then remember your trunk's gonna go up into here a little bit. Okay. So we got that. And do the same thing on the other side. Get your trunk up in there. And you want up here to be a little bit darker because it's going to be a shadow from the top of your mushroom. Not super overwhelming dark, but you want it to have a shadow. And that's one thing a lot of people forget about is doing shadows. Which just gives it a more realistic look. Let me turn this so I can get the bottom. A loop in here. And this is a perfect time to do mushrooms. It reminds me of spring. Like a mushroom rock is a cute little spring design. And that's when I started doing them because they reminded me of spring. So, I mean, if you notice, I don't really wash off my brush. I just keep going. And I'll add more paint if I want it darker, add more dark. And then this kind of helps you with blending too, just keeping some of that paint on your brush. Every now and then though, I do have to clean it off. while in the middle of doing this, because I might want it really light and then there's too much dark paint on there, so I can't get it as light as I want it. So see how it's blending? Keep in mind too that you want to keep this mushroom is not flat, so it's a curve. So what I do too is over here I'll do lines like this to give it that curve look. So make sure you have your dark, and you already got, you know, most of it blended. So by making lines like this and making sure you still have your, you know, your center blending. You want to do this while, you know, your paint is still wet. Get your center light color in here. And see, right now I can't get it light because too much paint on my brush. I grabbed a little bit of white with that titanium bleach. Sorry, I'm trying to get this lighter. I'll wash this off. Get all that excess darker paint off of it so I can get it more lighter for the sun to hit it. Sometimes it's good to take a break on your art. Like, I like to do that. I'll step away, especially if I'm spending too long on it. And if I feel like it's not coming out right, I'll step away and then I'll come back and look at it and be like, wow, actually it doesn't look that bad. And I think it's just because I focus too much on one spot. So we're making our curve lines. It's still going to be blended, but it'll still give it that look of a curved mushroom. And feel free, like I said, to ask me any questions. You can message me on Messenger or comment on my YouTube channel. And I'll do my best at helping you out. I don't mind sharing my art and techniques. I think we should all stick together, you know, and art is just fun. I don't mind when people copy my art. I mean, it's always nice when they do ask, but even if you don't, it's okay. You know, I feel like we should all just have fun with it and stick together. You know, put your own little quirky idea on there and personalize it yourself to make it your own. Sometimes I'll find stuff on Pinterest that I like, and I'll put 2 or 3 things together from different, you know, one from one thing I see and one from another and one from another, and I'll put it all into one and switch it up a little bit too. And I feel like, well, that's my own design now. I didn't copy exactly. I changed it up a little bit, but I got the ideas from them. And I think it's great when people post their stuff to share it, to help others out too. Just helps give us help on trying to figure out what we're gonna paint. I don't know if you can see, I just dipped it in water. I'm just trying to smooth this out a little bit more with my lines. And sometimes this takes me, I feel like, forever to do. And like I said, it's probably because I'm a perfectionist. I want it perfect. So I hope you bear with me on my super long videos. I really hope you're painting along. Dipped it in water right here because of this tan. I feel like I went too far over with the dark color. All right, so when I finish this side, and because I'm left-handed, it's throwing me off painting this direction. I'll paint this way. See if it helps. Last year was the year I started in the All Art auction group, and I seen some posts on there and I was amazed, and it inspired me to want to paint better. So if you're ever on my Facebook page, Dawn's Painted Art, you'll see some posts from last year that are not that great. They're very amateur. And what I did is everything I painted last year, I guess the year before last, it was very amateur. Last year, what I painted, everything I painted was a challenge. I said, I need to work on my shading. So I painted for like a couple months worth of stuff. It just only stuff that was like major shading, you know, and it's just how I got better and better and better. And it's all because of seeing this beautiful art people post on All Art Auction. And I was just like, wow, I want to do that. So whatever inspires you to paint, just keep doing it and keep challenging yourself. And, you know, it just helps perfect what you're already doing. And it's fun. So it's not looking too bad now. I know it's taking me forever. And you're probably already done if you are doing this. If you are painting along with me, I'm sure you're done. I tell you, I'm a slow painter. I want everything perfect. That's why I can never charge per hour. I know some people say they charge per hour on their pieces, and I'm like, yeah, not me. I can't do that. I'm too slow of a painter. So I just throw a number out there normally. So what about this? I don't like to overcharge either. I think that's a little crazy, especially this time where, you know, we're all kind of watching our budget. I think I lowered my prices. A lot of people upped them, and I lowered mine. I mean, we're not dying, so I'm not dying for money. But it always feels so good when you do sell a piece of your art. It's just like very rewarding. Okay. I think I might have this a little bit better. I'm gonna blend this up in here. Get some more of my color. I still see lines. They're bugging me. All right, I'm gonna leave it. So this is how I have mine looking. I mean, you can add a little bit more white on here or the titanium to make that more brighter, and I may do that later. But I don't want to spend too much time on one trunk for you. And then next, let's do the underneath. Now, like I said, you could do that different. I'm trying to see what I used on some of these. So this one, I used like a, almost like a grayish brown, and it's just a mixture of colors. Which I kind of, it's gonna be too dark for this because this is so dark. So you don't wanna have dark on dark. Or if you do, you want it to be a more distinctive color difference. This one, I just used a lighter color in there because there wasn't much mushroom showing on the underneath side. So this is more of a purplish blue, and then this one I did a light purple on the inside. And then, oh, this one I did the gray as well, the grayish brown. I'm thinking about, yeah, see this one I just used the lighter color, which we could probably do if we wanted to. Or I was thinking about just doing like the opposite of this and putting gray underneath. Well, let's see what it looks like. Let's see if we should do a light purple or gray. So let's do a gray real quick, just to see what it's gonna look like and if we're gonna like it. I just want to put a little bit in there to see if that's something that I want to do. So I kind of liking it so far. I don't think it's that bad, and like I said, I might lighten this later and then it won't look too bad. So I'm going to do gray on this one. I don't like this brush. You want to put darker right here on the inside and behind it for shading, and behind it on this side. So it's a darker gray. We get a different brush. This one, the bristles are all separated, so it doesn't work that great, especially for lining. Use this one. So you're gonna mix this one I'm mixing black and white together, and that's, you know, just add more white if you want a lighter gray, add more black if you want a darker gray. So I want to put lighter gray, and you're going to kind of make a loop. For some design, because underneath the mushroom it is not flat. So I'm going to get all my gray in here first before I do the looping. Hopefully I have this in the camera so you can see it. I zoomed my camera in so that way you could see closer to what I'm painting instead of so far away. but I have to make sure I keep my rock in the frame. Okay, so as you can see, you're gonna want to put more light because the back is kind of tilted a little. So the sun will be hitting right here and right here, not necessarily up here. So we can change that to darker if we want to. And then make this inside will be darker, shaded though. So this will be dark and then it'll go into a little bit lighter. And then the back here is gonna be super light. All right, so now that we have some color in there, then we can start to do it the right way. So there's a couple options. You can either just go ahead and make like patterns that go like this, and then what you'll do is you could just lighten it up right in the center of that pattern where you're gonna start, because that's where the sun is gonna hit, because it's gonna go, you know, underneath, kind of like that. So I'll do one and kind of show you. It's hard to explain sometimes. And you always, I just start on either one end or the center and do this. You can also put like lines to separate it even if you wanted to give it a more crisp look. So I just added the dark lines right there on around it, and then I'm gonna fade them in. Like so. This will be a little bit dark. And then this line. Should actually be more of a loop. And that's how you want your lines, it's like a loop of a line if you're gonna put lines. Otherwise you just kind of visualize that line. If you don't want lines, visualize it, and then that's where you're gonna paint the same thing but without the lines, which gives it, you know, a little bit more natural look. So you gotta shade all of this in. I'll show you once I get a couple of them done, because then you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm not always the best at explaining everything, but I do try. The brush is doing the same thing. It's almost time to switch out my palette too. Some of my paints are just getting a little hard. Okay, just so you can see what I'm talking about, if you look at the two loops right there, so that's kind of the pattern we're gonna do underneath, is just kind of have the loop going around, almost like a pizza pie or a pizza, you know, you have slices, so it's kind of gonna do the same thing and look like it has slices underneath. Just make sure when you're doing the line that you're giving it a loop effect, not just a straight line. By giving it that loop, you're making it look more 3D. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of that with the loops in there. And then these ones, we won't do the loops. And then that way you could see the two differences. So if you're painting along, which I hope you are, I always say that, because otherwise I feel like my video is very boring. I gotta finish this off. The rest of the loops. Just putting all my lines in there. So you can see all the lines that I have for the loops in there is what I was talking about. Okay. And then by doing like a couple more of these, I just want you to see how this is gonna look when it's done, because it looks pretty cool with the loops and the 3D effect it's gonna have. Look very realistic. Just keep in mind though, you still have your shadow. Excuse me. From this mushrooms, so back here is going to be a little bit darker than the front. I need a drink. I've been talking too much. I didn't realize I grabbed that much white. Okay, so if you look at this, let me cover up these that I didn't finish yet. So if you look at that, it gives it a really good effect. I guess I should not put it upside down. Sometimes I forget which way my camera is. So it gives it a really cool 3D effect, more realistic. Hopefully you can see that. And let me put it up closer. So it looks very cool. So if you do that all the way around, you'll get that effect, and I like it. So go ahead and work on that. And then what I'm going to do on this one is just going to be shading it to be darker in the center and then lighter a little bit in here. And then we'll see what we're going to do right here. Need a little bit bigger brush. That's not giving out on me. Let's try this one. So we're going to do gray as well. Just keep them all the same. Let's get some paint in here first off. Remember which way your sun is going. I know we didn't finish these, but I will finish those another time. Maybe one day I'll figure out how to edit my videos to where I could do that fast motion to be able to finish it all in front of you. Go slow, explain it, and then do it fast while I'm doing this repetitiveness. Okay, so now we're just gonna start blending. And right here on the edge, not the purple, the light color, you want to get your light color on the edge, just like that. And you can even make it more of a white color if you want. Give it not so gray, but really pop, because that's where the light's gonna hit it, is right here. And then you want to bring it in at an angle to bring into the mushroom. Because it's not straight. And you can even give it that curve like we did on this one, just we're not going to put the lines. So if you give it that curve effect, you got to do it to both sides. throat is dry. And then you gotta do it a little bit in the front as well. Just a little bit. And if you want, you can even adjust your mushroom right there a little bit. So this is going to basically not have too much darkness on it, because only the darkness is going to be right there where the bottom part of the mushroom is going in. I'm going to add a little bit more light on top of that to give it that loopiness so it works. You can see it through. So I work from dark to light, basically. And that just gives you, so when you're painting like a white on top of gray, you could really see the white pops out. And it'll have like little lines. Especially if you're painting like fur on animals or hair. Work from dark to light. And I'm just barely gonna give it this little loop motion with a darker color, just on the very end. There. Just go in the direction of the mushroom with that loop motion on the very end of it. And get our shadow in there behind it. Go. I feel like you can't see too much of the light over darkness. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more white just so you can see the shading right here in the center. Just in the center, not all the way to the edge. Just looping it in the center with a little bit of white. There we go. So you could play with it a little bit more to make it really stand out a little bit better, but that's kind of how I work on that one. So you have two different options. You can either do it like this with the lines, or you can work with it like this one, where you got the little bit of dark in the center, and then you're making lines in your head, basically, because you want to make the U pattern, but you got to go around the direction of the mushroom. So don't just do it straight across brush strokes. You want to make the U pattern, so it gives it more dimension and that 3D effect, like it's popping out. Okay, on my little guy, there's not much to him. He's showing off a little bit of mushroom bottom, the trunk, I guess. I don't know what you call it. I don't like to eat mushrooms, so I don't know what all the terminology is. This one, you can just do it even a dark color, because I mean, you're not really seeing much. So I'm just doing a little bit of the gray right here, the lighter gray. I'm not doing the loop pattern because there's not much to the bottom of this little guy. I'm gonna put my darker right here, close in the center, I guess is what we're calling it. And then I'm just blending it into the other gray. You know, there's some touch-ups, of course, I have, because some of my purple went into the tan, but when I paint the trunk, I'll get that all fixed. And you can too, you can quickly fix, you know, these. This one I have a blob of paint, which when I resin it, I don't want it popping up out of the resin, creating a bubble look. So I'll just show you real quick what this one's gonna look like. Like I said, I'm not really doing too much line with the curves. This one I'm doing more of a straight because it's very little trunk. I do the curves on the edges here because there's more showing. So if you give it that little bit of a curve, nothing too crazy. I mean, there's not much to it. So there's this one that we just finished. You can see that there's not much to it on this little guy. So we put the darker in the center, and then we just put a little bit lighter and blended it around it. So that's pretty much what I do on my mushrooms, on how to paint them. Once you get those all done, just get creative, you know, with your door. You could put some windows. Definitely use mine as examples that I've showed you in the video. And, you know, you could put flower pots, you know, those window flower pots, or you could just put flowers, you know, hanging out the window. You could put so many different things you could do to have fun with it. You know, you can have a light hanging from the top or a light by the door, you know, just kind of make it a little village. You can either put people or not people, or you could put animals or don't put animals. You could put some tiny little mushrooms like this one even into the grass with like different colors. You can lighten some spots of your grass here and darken it back here to make it have some depth. There's just so many options you could do. Since this is popping out, you can put a big old flower right there with a beautiful color. Maybe like a yellow or something to help pop out the yellow that's in the background. But, you know, have some fun with it. Definitely use mine as examples if you have any questions. If you're on Facebook, you can message me on Messenger, or, you know, comment below on the YouTube channel, and I will be checking it and answer any questions as good as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry I take so long to paint, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful night and be safe. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I don't post a lot of videos, but I do like to post if you have requests. I will make a video on your request, or if there's something new I wanted to try out that we're using the product, I will make a video on that too. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.